Hello everyone, how are you? Today I'm catching up with Bert Ola, who is the founder of the Learning Societies. I have no idea what that is, so we will ask him when I come back. What is Learning Societies and how can we build it? So don't go away.
Right, that'll be going.
Hello everyone. This is my brother from another mother. His name is Bartola Ernstrom. I don't know how to say his last name properly, but I think we can call him Bartola Allahwala. How about that, Bartola?
Yeah, that's good. That could be my artist name in Pakistan
So
or
Bartola,
maybe around.
who are you and what do you do?
Well, if you go to my Facebook profile, you can see my last headline there is building learning societies by connecting people, passion, and places. And I think that summarizes. I was thinking of that question, who I am, just the other day, and it's like a constant thinking around, and you evolve as a person. I think over time, you change hopefully a little bit. So that's what I do. That's my passion, to connect people, and uh, maybe I see myself a bit as an anthropologist to see what's going on in societies. I love see what other people do, the passion they have, uh, and how you organize. That's also one of my big passions, to see how people organize different things. How you bring into being what you want to see in the world, in the community, in the village, in the soccer club, in whatever you want to do. So that's a little bit about me. But and I've been doing this as long as I remember, and quite systematically the last 15 or 20 years.
So a lot of people might be wondering, how do you make money connecting people? What do you do for a living?
Well, organically, what I have been doing to a large extent is consultancy, because if you are passionate about something you become reasonably good at it, and hopefully in the end someone sees a value in what you do and can deliver, so you can add value to others. And so that's what I've been doing the last 15, 20 years now, in different roles, at university, at regional office in the county where I'm living now. I've been in the impact ecosystem, also doing work. I've been in Trondheim City in Norway. So in different roles and different organizations, but it has been more or less the same. It has been finding out how to use new tools and methodologies to bring people and knowledge into being. That's my, I think, my key skill to do that. And it's not always easy, because social capital, another word for networks and trust and communities, is something that is intangible. It's difficult to see networks and communities. It's like air to some degree. So, but if you work a lot on it, it's like building a house. You see the missing pieces, and you nurture different parts so it can grow. And hopefully you get something out of it, of the people, because they have the skills, they have the passion. So if you want to build something, whatever it is, you come together and do that. So that is sort of my why I'm here on this planet, I think.
So when you connect two bubbles together and you connect two societies and you become the living bridge, as you call it, how does it help the society? What does it do for the society when you connect two humans being together or two cities together? You're constantly traveling. My wife was asking the other day, what is exactly this guy do? I said, nobody understands. Only a few people, maybe one of them is me, who actually understand what he's doing, because they're unable to see the impact, direct impact, because you do subtle things, many small connections which grow into huge things. Like for example, you created catapult, and you they don't even know that you created catapult, or maybe they do, I don't know. But you created the network, you went to the Burning Man, you went to do this and that created that desire in the people to do something. So tell me more about, how do you measure? First question is, how does it help the society to, by connecting what you do, by so that more people can learn and become your student? And second, how do they, yeah, let's take that question first of all. If somebody wants to become a small Bertola and become your student, what's the society, what is the advantage to society they will bring?
Well, it was quite big question, but I can start at least, and then if they follow what I do, they can get to know more about my ideas, what I've learned, and also it's built, of course, on a lot of learnings from others. This is not unique. What I do is not unique in itself, because the social capital, for example, the concept that I'm using and digging into has been around for 100 years or more, intuitively for as long as humanity has been on this planet. And I think you said, why do you connect different people? Yeah, that's the difference between, I think, between animals and people. It is that we can learn from each other, and some would, of course, say to some degree also that animals can learn from each other, but that's really the human skill, how we can collaborate. And just to be a bit nerdy on academic concepts, often we speak about two type of capitals. We have the human capital. The human capital, that's our individual skills, like your skills and your skill and my skill and other people's skill. And then we have social capital. That's the added value if we start to do something together. So what we can create that we can't do alone, that's the social capital value. And if you add a lot of people together, you will have a lot of potential value. But it will not necessarily be good if you just bring different people into a room, just randomly. You need to have some type of facilitation also, because maybe they don't like each other. Maybe it will be a conflict instead. So you need also to listen and feel the space and the people. That do they fit together? What can they achieve? And that's where passion comes into being, and listen to the people. See, what do you want to do, Ria? What do Carla want to do? What do other want to do? And start to see what can you do, and what do different people know, and how can you fit those competences together to achieve a bigger goal. That could be a society where people want to live, for example, because individually you can't do everything and you have different skills. So that's why bringing people together who have the a good energy, because that the passion is the fire that brings something forward, because it will not always be easy days, and you will be tired some days. And then if you have a passion and a real purpose where you want to go, you can take the hard times. Like if you go to sports or ice hockey or football or soccer, to use soccer is the name if you're not in US. Uh, to become a good sportsman or good mathematician or whatever, you need to have the passion to learn for hours and hours and hours and practice for years and years and years to be really, really good. And that's why it's important to really find the passion in people. So by looking at the energy, the passion people have, and really what they have, not what they say, because what people say and what they really like is not always the same. So when I say become a good listener, it means that you can listen with your eyes as well. It's listening is a bigger concept, is to like listen for the whole uh, space where you are with different people and say, and these people should come together. And of course, before you did that in physical spaces, before internet, but now you can listen online as well. So you can like, and that I think that's to a large degree is what you are doing as well, Rian. So we like bringing these different competences and energies or passion. For me, that's a bit the same: passion or energy or good passion together, and then you can hopefully accomplish something bigger, like a small society. So society is, for me, that's like a small functioning place with some rules. You can say playground. It's like where people want to be and spend time and grow something, grow individual businesses, associations, whatever. That's like a small society. It can be a small society, it can be a big society. Does it make sense? Do you no? Ask more questions.
I'm learning from you for last 8, 9 years, and there is nobody like you in the world. So it's very hard to understand you because there is nobody to compare you with. I think we both are very unique in that way because we connect because of passion, not because of monetization. And we do it like crazy. We're like, I think we do it too much, and people don't. I mean, it's very confusing. So I understand that you bring people together and you get value in them. So now tell us, what is social capital and why is it important?
Well, I start a little bit to explain. Social capital, by definition, is the sum larger than its parts of the human capacity, the human skills. So what you can do together, because as individuals, we can't. For example, let me take a simple example. A baby can't come together by if you're alone. You need to be two people. So that could be said to be the social capital value, because you bring hopefully something better into space that you can't do alone. It's basically the added value to the individuals. And if you grow a car company or some whatever you are working on, the added value of the individual parts is the social capital value. And that's how I think humanity has grown over time. That's why we have a civilization today, because we could find out and we could learn from each other and see on other people, and okay, maybe I shift that, and this organization can start to work and improve and do something. So it's embedded. So it's learning and relations embedded. Do you see a little bit what I mean? And if you want to go into academic points, there are so many nuances and dimensions in this that we can go deeper into if you want.
So a
Measuring.
public example of building social capital, it would be Rotary Club, Lions Club, country club, where people
Yes,
come together
yes, yes,
and they add value to each other. But they are more structured organizations
yes,
who are working on certain agendas. But what you do is you go to Lions Club and you go to Rotary Club and you diffuse them together so that they become a bigger network. And they are overlapping networks, and your job is to go and talk to people, get to know them, what can they do, and then you find them the right partner. And here in our culture, marriage is done this way. So there's a woman who goes to both houses, the man's houses and the women's houses, and see the need of the person, and then they say, okay, you should marry this person, you should marry this person. And you and I do the same thing in the world
Yes.
for business and for cultural diffusion and stuff, right?
Yes, exactly. And that was a great example. I never thought about it in that way. And that person is really a bridge builder, and she builds social capital in the family. I said that social capital can be looked at different levels, at team levels, at city level, at nation level, in different bubbles, and so forth. And your example with the family is in the family context, social capital in a family context. But it's like it was a good illustration that there, where you grow something that like a flower, you mix different flowers and so forth. So yeah, that is.
So I think a lot of people do this already, know unknowingly, that they're actually building the social credit. Like for example, all the chambers of commerces, all the associations are basically, their job is to connect the organization in a way, like build a team, but they don't really understand how to do it because they didn't go through, there is no course for them. Okay, you have now become a president of such and such association or a chamber. This is what you need to do with your members to identify them. So I think, Bertola, you should pitch to there are thousands of chambers of commerces in the world, and every time I go to them, they are all living in old school. Nowadays I'm running for election in a chamber of commerce for Pakistan Software Association, and the biggest challenge in that association is same, that they are focused on the problem, but they don't build the social capital. They don't build within the network the power they have within the network. They don't know how to harness it, because it's a skill you have to develop, that you have to sit with everyone, talk to everyone, have a conversation with everyone. And then it's such a new thing that even if I introduce it to them, it's very challenging. But it was very interesting that when we came to Stockholm last time, and you gave the lecture to um, Shaz, Shah Jahan Chaudhary with NIC. He was very much fascinated, and it was a fantastic lecture that you delivered. So imagine I am a president or general secretary of a chamber of commerce. What are the few things in which you are teaching in the learning society already that I should be doing, and why should they join the learning society? Because basically that's what you're doing also.
Well, learning society, just to say that first, that's sort of what I have learned over the last 15 years of theory and practice within this field, plus a lot of other people. So it's sort of an embedded learning up to now in the learning journey I've been to and with other people. And also, it's a narrative, which is also very important. It is sort of what I think, if we speak Peter Senge, another master in organizational learning, he speaks about organizational learning. But that's an organizational level, that's an entity of organization. But a learning society is a bit bigger entity. In a society, you have many types of organization. So, without going too deep into learning society, but it's sort of a narrative with embedded learning up till now. You asked me there what you should do. I think you're totally correct. We have thousands of clubs out there. We have motorcycle clubs, we have Rotary clubs, we have Bildung, we have learning institutions and like that. And of course, they have associations and clubs built social capital. But what happens always, if you look at academic research, and the concept is called homophilio theory. So when you start to build a community or whatever together, over time, this community will be more and more rigid because you become more like-minded. You start to know what other people are doing. And you don't see the new blood that you need to bring into this organization, so you get rigid. That's the problem, that over time that the existing organizations become too rigid. And some people will, of course, see that, and they, in one or another way, will renew themselves and they survive. But I think social capital, like you said, if you understand, some people get very good in this intuitively because you're like, you love people, you love new ideas, you want to travel to spaces, and you become organically good in building social capital and ecosystems and so. But there is also methodologies around social capital, and you can, I would say, you can improve maybe 200-300%. Why be satisfied with 20% when it can be 300% better? That's why it's good to know a little bit around learning social capital. For example, if you want to invest in social capital, you have three types of social capital broadly seen. You have what you call the bonding social capital, which is community. That's the strong ties, the relations within your family or in your sport club or in your business club or in your in the association you spoke about, the people who really know each other and by heart, like, and by name, and you know the behaviors and how they really, what they do daily, and the family members and everything, and you like each other. So that's like the community part of social capital. And then you have the other type, which is called bridging social capital. And it's like-minded people, but you're far away from each other. So it can be, Liverpool, the football club, for example. If you love football, you have, my favorite team is Liverpool. You have thousands of Liverpool supporter clubs around the world. And I don't know Liverpool club in Tokyo, for example. And if I would travel to Tokyo and meet the Liverpool fan club, supporter club, we would have a lot to discuss immediately because we share the same passion, and things will organically come out of that. Yeah, let's go and see Champions League next year in that place, for example. So that's the bridging social capital. You share the passion, but you don't know each other that well. And then you have the linking social capital, which is power relations. Political power, people who can decide things and put it into being by power. And finance is a part of power as well. So these three types of social capital is important to nurture, all three types. Mostly, if you don't think about it, it's the first part that you invest in, community capital, the social capital called bonding, because that's what you do when you're not aware, because it's easiest to invest in what you know, closest to you. Bridging, to go to another place, takes time and risk. You need to travel to Tokyo. Like I said, the football club, you need to buy the ticket, you need to meet strangers on the streets. That's a bit dangerous. Who can I meet on the way, and so forth. And the third category, linking, that's power. And the difficulty with power is that people in power normally don't let all people in. So it's like, if you work strategically on social capital, it's important to have a strategy where you invest a bit of time in all these three aspects and constantly see, okay, now I built a nice community. Maybe I should build a bit more bridges to other communities so we get more, as I say, good vibes into it. Often you use the name serendipity, and that's where serendipity comes into work. New unexpected things can grow in these links between different cliques of the communities. And in the end, you need maybe some investment or a house or a decision, political decision that you can do something in a place. Then you need the relations to power. That's why it's important to have all these three components, and that will take time, of course, to invest in these three aspects. So the first thing I say to a person who wants to learn to build social capital or networks or communities, different names of the same thing, is that how much time do you want to invest in this? Is it 2 hours a week, or is it 10 hours or 20 hours a week? And then divide the time you want to invest. If it's 10 hours, for example, try to build 3 hours on community building, 3 hours on bridging, and 3 hours on linking. And yeah, 1 hour you can divide into these three. And then you find out when to do it. Is it every day, or is it the weekends, and like that? That's one strategy to do it, to build social capital. And over time, you can start to assess, has something come out of that? Do we have a nice community, vibrant community? Do people interact? Do they come up with ideas? Is it thumbs up? Is it good energy? I think most people who have been in good spaces can feel if it's good energy. If you go into a pub or a restaurant, is it a place where people are throwing glasses in the bar on the street, or fighting, or are they sharing and have a good time together? People get to know if it's a good community. Is people supportive in this place? Do they say hello? Are they welcoming? Are they supportive? So this is like how to get the good vibes of the place, how you measure the social capital. And you can put numbers, but you can also feel the place, feel the community. Peter Block, who is one of the world's living, I think, big authorities in social capital or community building, Peter Block, he said that a good measurement on a good community, a good social capital, is that a member in the community could wake up in the middle of the night and think, I have a problem, and say that openly, and people will come for help. That's a good community where they really, if it's just, one person who will get help, it's not a good community. It should be spread, the supportiveness in the community. That's a way of seeing, like, how do you measure social capital? To measure social capital in a linking dimension, then it's more, do we get finance if we need to finance a new project or new technology or whatever you're working, a road project or something? Then you have a good social capital to in what we call the linking social capital. So yeah, that's a little bit about how to think in investment in social capital, and a bit of how to start to measure on social capital.
I think it's very, very, very common in our culture and other uh, cultures like underdeveloped countries. We have very, very strong social capital when it comes to families, when it comes to the clans or tribes. And, at the middle of the night, you can call anyone and they're actually ready to give or take care of it. And that's how they survive. But in your countries, people get separated, don't live with the families anymore. You have your own house, your son is living with someone else, your wife, for example. Or then the linking is not there as much. Whereas in our culture, the problem is we are very closely linked. But there is another problem. We are very comfortable with each other, and then we don't learn because the learning part is missing, because they think they are the best tribe and then they know everything. So they don't go to the other tribe and they don't engage and conversate. And that's where our country's problem is, that people like in Pakistan, for example, they don't cross over to the other tribe because they think they are the best one already. Do you have a solution for that?
Well, it's this is really one of the challenges with this, I said, homophilia theory, that over time you get to know the family, if we say a country as a family, it's easy to be within the family until it dies because you don't get any new blood into it. It's hard because it requires to take a bit of risk to go out of the bed in the morning or to travel to the neighboring village, or even worse, if you, to go to neighboring country. It's a bit of to meet strangers on the street and start to speak about with them. So phobia. If you have phobia, you're afraid of snakes or something that you're afraid of. You need to push yourself a little bit into uncomfortable situations and like be on the, I don't find the English word for it, but this is learning. If you feel too comfortable of being at home within your community, and I understand that because most people are like that. That's why it's so important to have the bridge builders who like to go out, to the explorer, the traveler, the person who go out on who did the walk from village to village, and like priest or like that in the old time, who brought the news into the communities. They brought the knowledge. You have so many examples around the world what happens when you bring new ideas, new knowledge into community. That's how a progress is happening. Whatever you work on, if it's technology innovation or water projects or different social innovations, that's how you learn. And learnings come with people, because people are the only, I mean, as far as I understand or know, is the only agent on the planet. The only entrepreneur is the people. So they are the ones who can come up with something, some creative ideas.
Okay, so here's where I need your consulting. I
Yeah.
have 130 million new people in Pakistan who have a smartphone, which is like 13 new Sweden, or approximately 70 new Estonia, 70 new Bosnia being born, just born in the last 3 years within Pakistan, and or 240 Montenegro, for example. So we have these large populations coming online, and if you look at the comments, majority of them, at least who follow me, are very keen in making money, but they are not used to earning money from consulting, from conversation, from online societies. Like, one of the reasons I wanted to do live with you is most of them have never talked with anybody overseas in their life. So the reason I wanted them to see you is get comfortable that there is a handsome young man who can be your friend and who you can talk to, you can design graphics for, you can do uh, co-create the world with. And they're very scared of the unknown, just leaving their tribe. Now in this case, their tribe is maybe Pakistan, and their tribe is different, and they're very constantly, like, like, look, scam, 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 because they've never seen how to identify a scam. Like, for example, if I go to a forest with you, I would be scared of the bugs and the snow and the snakes which might come out, because I've never been to the forest. So these people have never worked online, and they're here all of a sudden. There's a whole planet which is available to them on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on Instagram, where they can sell services and they can charge them and they can make so much more money, which can help them become a happier person because they can buy things which normally they couldn't. So how do I? And they don't. The one problem is they don't know. Second, they don't trust that it's possible, or they believe. Because they don't believe, they don't earn anything, because they're like, nah, it's not going to happen. It's like, oh, I'm the best tribe, I don't need to go out to another tribe. How do I engage them into this? And I've been bribing them with laptops, and I've been, offering this is possible, this is possible, but it's so slow. And as a nation, when I look at my country, I feel that It's poor for no reason, absolutely no reason. For a country like Pakistan, which has the world's second largest mountain, to ocean, warm ocean, minus 50 degrees, plus 50 degrees at the same time, five rivers, and 250 million smart brains, and we are still poor. Why? Because I think we are glued to our culture and to what we know, and we are not ready to explore, and we're very scared and shy and don't believe that it's possible. And trust is missing, and that's where again social capital comes in, because it's also called the trust capital.
Mm. Yes, I don't have like. I, if we just go to Sweden, I know I have told about the Swedish story before, but Sweden was one of the world's poorest nations 150 years back, at least Europe. But I think at that time, if we go to 1820, 1830 or something,
All the
uh,
countries were poor at that time. There was no
yeah.
rich.
But things can happen, and it can happen. Well, I mean, today with the internet, I think things can happen much quicker than it did 200 years back or 1,000 years back, and like that. That's the on the positive side. So it's not, but it's also depending on what happens in the around us in the world. So Francis Wesley, one of the most famous researchers in system innovation, and like that, say we live in sort of different, embedded in different systems, and if the system around us is rigid and well organized and everything, it's very hard to transform the next system or the system around you. So, but in times of conflict, in times of occasions where things are, like in war times and in economic downturns and like that, then it's a bigger chance that you can change something. So if you have built the capacity and a bit of learning and like that, and I think we live in a time now with climate crisis, with a lot of big conflicts around the world, wars and like that. It's also an opportunity to make a shift. But like you said, not everyone will succeed in being an entrepreneur. It's not statistically, it's a hard work to be an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, but you will learn things on the road and do your best. So but it takes time to build a society. It takes long time. Just look at the Nordic countries: Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, to take these five countries. It has taken all of the countries, I mean, very very long time, but like say the modern society, at least plus 100 years. So don't expect a change in 3 4 years if we speak about societal differences. But from an individual level, you should be able to transform a lot of brains in the community quite quickly. And I think with all you have done the last 10, 12, 15 years, it should be able to make a small survey and see what has happened with people who started to follow you 10 years back, for example. How did their life, how, what happened on the way? Do they have more skills? Are they more positive? Do they view strangers in a new way? I mean, we could set up a simple survey with some of these questions. It would be quite interesting to see. I think the time perspective of,
I think you
yeah,
should do a PhD on me easily, because I have the data. I have now 14 million people on my Facebook, which is more than your country. And I think somebody should definitely, an academic should definitely survey this and seriously. And I've tried many times, but they ask me things which I don't understand myself. I'm not an academic. And I think you are the best guy to be either the PhD supervisor or do it yourself on the people who started following 10 years ago, or people who joined me 10, 15 years ago on my office. For example, I have some people who still work with me for 10 to 15 years, and their lives have changed dramatically. And I think the it's only going to happen more and more because we have these role models available. We have one guy who is now with us for 12 years, and he started as a tea guy, like in the office to make tea, uh, just to serve tea to the people. And now he's earning over $1,000 plus. He started with $30 a month, and now he's making over $1,000 plus. He just started his first class to teach machine learning, and this is a tea boy converted over the years into machine learning guy. But I was very focused on him. But others who were just following randomly, and there are many people who also transformed, but they don't even know that they transformed. Just like Bert Ola, you do things, and they don't know that you planted the seed without them knowing, because you have to be so subtle with these tribes that they get upset. How would we measure that?
Yeah, but the good thing here is that in research, this has been so ways of measuring social capital has been developed for decades, plus 50 years at least. So it's more to find out. There's a lot of ways to measure trust. Trust is a big concept with tons of research over decades. You have a lot of ways to build to measure structures in networks. You have a lot of ways to look at association. Are people active in associations, in elections, in whatever? So it's more, as I see it, you find a few indicators and you start to measure your social capital, your community, your organization. Is it healthy? Another word for this is it unhealthy? Is it a good organization? And for me, a good organization is where people feel alive, where they come to work in the morning, have good energy when they enter the door. I want to do something, say hello. What have we achieved? That's a good organization that can accomplish. If you're sleeping in the work, it's not a good place. Yeah, I think most people would agree in that. So it's, but you need to learn how to see these qualities in an organization, in a society. And I think that's part of the skills you have in your program that I'm following from aside for years. You learn people three basic skills as I see it. One, you learn how to connect. You incentivize them a little bit to connect outside themselves by the REAM 500 project or something. It's another way of stepping outside your comfort bubble. Next thing, you learn to ask questions. And that's another way of building communication and relation, and listen to what the other person say. Asking question and listen to what other people say. And the third thing is by making it on YouTube and setting up different channels is to organize the knowledge. So learn to connect, learn to listen and communicate, and learn to organize the knowledge. These are sort of the three components, I think, in a knowledge economy where we are into. Whatever you want to work in, if you're an entrepreneur or if you work in the government or if you work in an NGO or something, or if you're a family husband or wife, or it's good to know whatever, I think, these three basic skills. And the good thing now also is that we live in a time where you can, like you do and I do and many other people. I met some fantastic people in a refugee camp in online down in Uganda. Another person in Congo who is today an investor. He lives in Congo. He can travel around the world. He's an amazing person. He can go to Silicon Valley, he can go to Tokyo, but he lives in Congo and he has done everything online. Brilliant person. And this can happen today. It couldn't happen 20, 30 years back, but in the time and the ages of internet, it's possible. So it's but I'm happy there to if there are like some passionate students or people who want to learn. I have a lot of learnings in this field that has been my both academical and practice. I have met a lot of people on the road trying to make a difference in the world.
So I have recently started two programs which I want you to know because that will help you in your observing me. One is I bought a school, and that school has currently 110 students and 14 teachers. And every single student and teacher has to have a purpose, a one SDG goal they want to solve. And every day they have to watch a TED talk on that subject. For example, one teacher wants to solve the water issue. So every day they have to watch one TED talk about water, could be anything. Then they have to make three videos from that video. One, exactly what they learn um, in English, second in Urdu, third in their own regional language. When they So now they are impacting three different tribes: English tribe, Urdu tribe, and their own regional tribe. Then every day they have to do this every day. So 120 people I will have soon, which will be working and learning and teaching the same time on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and they will tag the original person. So, for example, their assignment can be watch this TED talk by Bert Ola and then tag him. So, 20 people will watch the video and then tag him, and you can watch. Interesting. I never thought of that. So, your co creation of the learning. Second, one of the biggest problem in countries like ours is the parents don't have money to pay for school. That school is free, the government school, but the quality is bad, and the private schools are expensive and they can't afford. So we're teaching students freelancing. So every student in our school has to learn basic graphic designing, and then they have to learn how to become a freelancer, and then they have to earn $500 a month as a student. And out of that $500, we take $100 as a school fees, and $400 goes to their home. Their father and mother combined normally makes $100 a month. Here, the student all of a sudden is making $400 a month, so it will change the economics. And once we succeed this, hopefully, if we do, the other schools can copy this model and replicate this. Therefore, we will have thousands and millions of graphic designers, which is step one. And then we want to help them learn coding and animation and all the great stuff which they can learn online and deliver online. Second, I've created another training center where I am taking the experts of a subject. So, for example, like you, when you came to Pakistan, we recorded your course. So here we have a center where people like you can come for 4 hours a week, 2 hours a day, and we create a classroom for them. We find students for them. We charge the student, and we pay you from that fees, and we teach you how to teach, make curriculum, and then also help you will teach the same online like we teach you when you came to Karachi. We recorded your course. So so this is something new, and we call it the social media incubator, where our goal is to create thousands of new YouTubers and teachers online, so we can scale. In a country like Pakistan, fifth largest country on the planet, we need to scale. 70% cannot read and write properly. We need to just go crazy with the 130 million new phone users. So that's my project for the next 1 or 2 years. In the next 8 years, I am hoping that our country will totally transform, and we will hit the $1 trillion mark in economy, in the GDP size. And I hope that in the next 8 years, we will end poverty from the country of Pakistan altogether forever, because we will empower millions and millions to use this technology which they have in their phone. And for them, making 5 times more money will be incredible for them. And the scale which I'm doing all this, it will hopefully bring impact in the next only 5 to 10 years. So, without any government help whatsoever, single handedly, hopefully, with all the people who are coming as trainers and teachers, are going to hire themselves, grow themselves, and at the same time, the community. What do you think?
That's brilliant, brilliant. So, and I saw, by the way, I've seen a bit from, because the only person, when I look in the list on Facebook, you can have a maximum figure of nine sharings, and I don't know if it's like the last hour or something. So I can see a lot of posts from the media incubator you have there and different things, and I also get requests, and I see the quality on the people. So when I look at the profile, I see immediately on there how much do they share, do they comment, do they organize, how old are they, and like that. So you see these skills that I spoke about. The Do they know how to connect? Do they know to how to communicate? Do they know how to organize knowledge? And the fourth, do they know to how to apply the knowledge and put it into practice? And that's maybe the most difficult. That's where the entrepreneurs come into being. Where, what can I do with this knowledge? But you learn them the skill how to organize and like the critical components, so to say. So I would love to be part of I see my already in one way or another part of this project, but I hope we can do some great things in the coming months and scale up this around the world.
I think
That
we
would be
can
fantastic.
keep an eye on the school, because the progress on the school is very, very slow right now. But in the next 6 months to 12 months, it will become very fast, I hope. The capacity of the school is 800 students a day. It's a very large building. And right now, I have only, I think, 110 students. And we're creating all the new systems, and anything which we never taught in school, we are going to teach them there. And all the stuff which, you know, we wish that they were taught. What is social capital? There should be a class on that. So now there will be a class on that. So all of a sudden we have these students who are forced to learn. They don't have a choice, it's a school. So they will be given opportunity, and they don't have to be fantastic at it, but at least they will have taken one course on what is social capital and how to build it, building, and you can maybe start teaching there online, or connect with them. I already made a group for you on WhatsApp. I see you already have 50 students enrolled. The challenge is the language. So the school, Carla is supposed to teach everyday English there, and we're doing everything, as much technology integration as possible, more than probably you have in Sweden and Norway, wherever. Take the top school in the world, and I think we will outgrow them, because I'm all about technology, and nobody's allowed to be in the school without a phone, without a laptop. You don't have a laptop, we will give you one. You don't have a phone, we will give you. You don't want a phone, bye bye. Find another school. So we want to create many small little Bertolas who would change the world and make it a better place. And here is your playground, all of a sudden, where you can play. And that's why I don't want to travel much and really do many things beside this, because it's taking a lot of focus. It's really taking a lot of thinking. Last night I had 3 dreams about this. So I'm, daydreaming and night dreaming, and I'm frustrated. All the issues keep me awake at night on these very small little stupid things, but they have to be solved. But it's a very interesting experiment, and it's all public. It's not like I have a I have an island where nobody is supposed to touch this experiment. I'm very open. So anybody who wants to copy, who wants to copy paste, they're more than welcome. Everything is open source, and then they can replicate it anywhere. And it's so easy. It's so easy to change in today's world with this smartphone. It's easy to connect. It's just that they're not comfortable, and that's the biggest problem we have. So on the walls of the school we have 100 people including you, where we have your photo, your Facebook, your LinkedIn. Connect with him, connect with Cillian, connect, make him new friend. Even if they don't, you don't add, they're following you. But now they're seeing, what is this man doing? He's going here, he's going here. What the hell? What are these places? So all of a sudden you will have larger engagement than you have ever seen. Your photo is going on another poster of ours in the school, that you have to add this person even if he doesn't add you back. So we're putting, like, 30, 40 people on a wall, where these are the people you must follow, and this is the same which is on my book, and you're one of them. So they will be connecting with you just to engage in another culture. We three people from Sweden who to connect, you, Cillian, and one other guy. So I want them to be exposed to other culture as much as possible.
Mm. That's great. So yeah, let's do that. I'm totally open and I'm ready now after we are in the pandemic situation. So I think after the pandemic. So it's the perfect time. I think like you, I'm also a bit tired of traveling. I got the opportunity to travel a lot, but I feel also I've done that. Now
Let's
I
give
want
us
to.
another pandemic for the next 4 years, so the world will connect really tightly together
Yeah,
on the internet. Because this pandemic was fantastic for the
yeah.
planet. They were connected like anything.
Yeah, I mean, nurture from when I started to connect people there in circles around the world. I mean, really strategically connecting in these bubbles and links, and I did that in 2010. So it's 12 years back. So I connected like super connectors in all regions of the world, and then nurture that more than 10 years. So like the social capital structure is built in Philippines, in Thailand, Vietnam, in Australia, New Zealand, in Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Brazil, Argentina, US, you name it, all places. So now it's more to how do you build next step of the network and get the scaling effect on networks. So I think with your ideas there on social media incubator and like that, and that's also one of the learnings. If you saw what I did 2 weeks back, and you have been to my place of the world, you have been in Norway, you went to Andreas' place in Geiranger Fjord, where Tom Cruise was. You remember the place. You have been in Stugun, my home village. This is a fantastic place for learning about people and nature and culture and clean water and everything. So what I want to do in this part of the world is to build like a living hub where we could show the world how you can build a like clean environment, a good place to live. But in a place like where you are in Karachi, a lot of people crowded, 30 million people or something, there are other problems, other things. So and other qualities that you can learn to other people around the world. So you take your problems and your qualities and teach others how to come up with new solutions there. So in that way, we could do things together ahead.
Okay, thank you, brother, from another mother, for your time today. It was good to catch up. It's an hour long video. People who don't understand what is going on, it's a very important work, but if your stomach is full, you should definitely watch this. But first, fill your stomach. This work will also fill up your stomach, but in ways which you don't understand, because it took me forever to understand what I do. And Batola is probably one of the only people I know in the world who has helped me understand, Rehan, this is what you do. So thank you, Batola, for being my teacher, my friend, my brother, my guide. and being a role model, and you have put in so much effort in connecting the world and making it to a better place. And I can't thank you enough. And thank you for keeping to connect with Pakistani people. And I hope that more and more people will connect with you and adopt you, and take care of you and move you to Pakistan. And maybe you will finally find a girl from Pakistan to get married, so you have more reason to spend 6 months a year in Pakistan at least.
Yeah, I'm looking forward, and thanks for being there, Rian. It's I always get super motivated when I see you share something online. So some people bring good vibes into the world, and you're definitely one of them.
And I hope they bring good vibes also for you online, so that was along with good vibes. So thank you for everything, Batola, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Have a wonderful day. Take care. So thank you everybody for joining in. This was Bert Ola from Sweden. He's a wonderful connector. He's an anthropologist, not by education but by work, and he helps create social capital, network capital. Not many people understand this. There's only two universities in the world who offer this degree. It's a very interesting work. If you can understand, I've shared his WhatsApp group in the description. You can join it and you can be his student and grow yourself and grow your society and create a learning society, as he call it, in your area. Have a wonderful day.